already
Been
went
a trade
past
that's
that
already
mark.
happened.
Mhm.
Yeah, no problem. What I typically try to do is I try to put in trades around. Uh, they're based on the session opens. So as we dive more, you're gonna learn that there's four sessions in a market. You got the Asian, you got London, you got New York, and then you have like a Sydney. We're really they're about five. So I'm putting them in there corresponding with what the banks are doing. Like the banks open, they open at certain times. Like one bank will open, the next one they'll close, and the next one will open, then they'll close. But for short, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start putting the exact entry point, like when I entered the market. So to start
Mhm.
having like sales CHF or Swiss franc JPY, and they'll put like it 11400. So if you go to your charts and you see that the price is still at like if I say 1110.20 and you see it hasn't moved that much, you can still take that signal.
Okay.
Busy.
Okay. That, I mean, that
Day. Happy.
would be a little bit easier for
Look.
me to catch
I
on
got it.
to, because
Stop.
like I say,
Sit
sometimes it's
down.
not even
I got
until
dusty.
6 o'clock until I get home.
Yeah, exactly. Um, well, it'll let you know. That'll be an indication more, or it'll help you to know if it's still a valid signal. So if you see, like, say for instance, if I sent a signal that said sell UJ and I sold, I put the at sign and I put at like 1183. So that
Mhm.
means that if the price is still, a couple of pips in there, you can still take the signal.
Okay.
And then I
All
have
right.
a potential take profit and also a stop loss. Um, what I recommend is just once you're satisfied, go ahead and start trying to take your profit.
Okay.
Either you can move your stop loss down and just let it follow it, so you don't have to close it all the way out, or you can just take your money. So say it go like 30 pips, or you got like $5 or something in there, you want to just go ahead and take it, you can take it.
Okay.
But I'll have two set points for you. Like I have to take profit probably down here, and I have like a tight stop loss. Now I won't win every trade, but if you take them all throughout the week, you're pretty much gonna be, the way I'm trading is you're gonna have a winning ratio at the end of the week. So you're gonna earn pips, but I account for any losses, anything like that. But you
Mhm.
just have to kind of keep taking them at least for
That's
like
okay.
throughout the week. Yes, ma'am.
Part of winning is losing.
Uh,
You can't win them all, but you can learn from your losing.
exactly. You learn to earn. Yes, ma'am. But it's been pretty good. We've been cranking out some good weeks, so I'll make sure that inside that group I start sending them all out. And I usually run probably like two or three a day. I try to
Mhm.
keep it, in a good decent range, unless the market's just giving me a lot of setups. Um,
While I'm at work, I can't really look into the Telegram group,
I
but I
understand.
will start taking my computer. Um, I can try to look into the Telegram, and I try to keep up with most of it. But by the time I get with the Telegram, um,
Nah,
most of those are already gone.
it ain't needed. It's been the way that I've been trading here lately. I've been focusing more on like, I'll start. What I'll do is I'll start sending them out around this time. I send one or two of
Mhm.
them, and then you can expect me to probably send out some more early in the morning, like 3, and then maybe some around 10 at night, 12 at night. So
Mhm.
I'll start getting more on a structured time scale, so you'll know when to kind of expect the signals to come in. So
Okay, that
start
one.
looking, like when you get off, I'll probably have you one or two, just because I know you're starting to get off now. And then probably before you go to bed, you can check it again and see if there's any. And then in the morning
Okay,
when you wake up, I'll probably have another cycle of them coming out.
okay. I'll start checking it then, because, like I say, I don't. And most people work a 9 to 5. Well, we work 8 to whenever the last patient leave, and that might not be at 5 o'clock.
Yes, man.
And we travel to different clinics, because I'm a nurse, so we travel to different clinics on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So,
Okay.
like I said, it might not be like Tuesday. It might not be till 7 o'clock before I get home. But Thursday, we're a little bit closer to home. So, but I'll start taking my computer, and that way, when I see that you put a signal out, that I can get try to get a break and
Jump in, huh?
yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Well, yeah. Well, I'm gonna work with you, Sharon. We'll make sure we start getting so you can start seeing a little growth as you start, tackling your learning curve. We'll just try to keep you in the market, and then the beauty of it. Like I like how the way you think. Like you'll start noticing why I took that trade, or you'll start
Hmm.
noticing some of the setups or structures or patterns that's in the market. And as we continue to teach and you continue to learn, um, you'll start being able to recognize certain things. Like right here, right now, if can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
We have, this is a potential trade here. We have what they would call a double top. You have USD came up, it dropped back down, then it came back and it's slowing down at the same resistance point. So,
Hmm.
so we're looking for the price to kind of continue down. But this is just me
Right.
looking just off the top. So I'm gonna check a couple of more things, and then we may have a signal here just setting up already.
See, and that's where, okay, so I need to start how you have the simple lines and get to the more complex ones, if that makes sense.
Indeed, I'm gonna send you some
So,
reference material.
hmm.
Cause I've been kind of not slacking, but I've been doing a mist of things right now. But now I got some downtime, so I'm gonna go in and personally record some different lessons on things like support and resistance.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I want to know about first.
I,
Oddly enough.
it work out then. So I'm gonna record something. I'm gonna record something up for that. But to me, for any beginning trader, that's gonna be the starting point. Once you learn, that these are candles, you kind of learn what a pip is. Then I
Hmm.
always recommend to go to support and resistance. Some people, you know, there's some people not kind of knock support and resistance, but it's a good point to start recognizing where buyers and sellers are stepping into the market.
Hmm.
So it's not necessarily that you have that line there that it's gonna just stop there, but what it really represents is a visual. It gives you a visual representation of where possible sellers and buyers are laying in the market. So when you see that price kind of come up and then it comes back down like that, that's gonna be selling pressure. Somebody selling into this buying trend. So you'll
Hmm.
start noticing that, and we use the support and resistance lines to give us a representation of where our sellers are potentially at.
So what is the name the on the chart? What is the name of that line that, or is it just a line that you put there?
Well, you can always manually put it there, but they're going to be called support and resistance areas or zones.
Right.
You have to think about it like this: like I can just put a line. Hold on, let me go to trading view real quick. I'll show you what I'm looking at. Okay, we went to UJ here. I'm gonna get a clean chart real quick. Okay, the way that we trade is what we call a top-down approach. So we start at the highest time frame or a higher time frame, like the daily, and then we're gonna look for the most recent high where the market came to the highs, and then I'm gonna put a line there.
And you just it doesn't have a like a name. That's just like one of the lines off the side, right?
Yeah, it's just a line.
Okay.
But when
That's
I
what I'm at. Yeah.
the point that I put it at makes it mean something. So when I
Mm-hmm.
put it right here,
Right.
yeah. So it's just a line. Like you don't have to look for nothing special.
Okay. So the one up top, that's what you call the ceiling.
Exactly. There we go.
And the one down at the bottom is what you call the floor.
We're gonna think of it like the floor. Yes, ma'am. So it takes a lot of force for it to break through the roof, or it takes a lot of force for it to break through the floor. So once we have them lines marked up, all we're doing is we're kind of waiting for reaction at those points. So now you see how it came up there before, and we
Mm-hmm.
always start to the right. We start to the right where price is currently at, and then we look at the left to kind of give us an indication of if this is strong or where price has already been. So when we look into the left, we see that price came up here and it didn't like that area, so it dropped down. Now we're at the same place, so we're gonna take it as we can't be 100% for sure, but there's a probability like it's already starting. It's gonna drop at that area again.
And it'll probably drop down to where Right, little right there.
Exactly, because you see how it's wicked and things like that. Or it bounced before from right here. So that's gonna be a safe spot to either take your money or to just really get on standby. That's what I like to do is kind of get on standby and know, okay, right here something's gonna happen. It's either gonna come back up or it's gonna break through it and give
Gonna
me a
break through.
continue. Yes, ma'am.
So at down here at the bottom, right, go up some, right at that blue spot right there, or down there at the bottom. Is that is your resistance?
That's gonna be my support. The ceiling is the resistance. The
Okay.
floor is support. And I think we got some people that jumped in. Let me see who all came in real quick. But yeah, that's just your ceiling and your floor. It'll be the top and the bottom. Look out, what's going on, Chino? What's up with it, Daniel?
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing all right, man. We're just going over with sharing a little bit of support and resistance.
Okay.
But Michelle, this is a good basis point for you to start seeing a couple things in areas that you should pay attention to in the market. Now, you got the floor and the ceiling down. What I want to show you is to be able to tell if it's going to be a strong area, like if it's a strong floor, if it's going to be a concrete floor, or if it's going to be a wooden floor, or if it's going to be, a concrete ceiling. Is you want to see it hit this multiple times. So, like I was saying, we start on the right and we look to the left, and when we look to the left, we see if prices reacted here before. So, like, let me pull up a higher time frame real quick. So, like, now we're on the 4 hour, and we can see that, okay, right here, it became a floor, right? And then we look to the past. Look, did you see how that was a ceiling?
Yes.
So that's telling me
it broke through the floor.
Yeah, it did. It broke through the floor. But what this is telling me from the past, like, okay, where I'm at now, I'm looking at this as a floor. When I look in the past, I see it was also a ceiling. So that just tells me that this is a strong area. Even though it broke through right here, it's still letting me know that this is going to be considered, it's going to give me some trouble when I get here. So this is where I want to potentially look to start taking my money.
Okay.
So it's like double refined. Like, it has the floor
and the ceiling
and
quality.
the ceiling. Yes, ma'am. But like, if we look over here, like this top line, I don't see that yet. I just see it was just a ceiling. So this is probably weaker. This is probably more refined or more sturdy. So that just adds a little bit more to it for you, like, so you can be able to know, okay, I marked off my zones. I started to the right. I marked off my high. I marked off what I seen as a low. And then I look in the past. I make everything a little smaller. And if it's didn't touch there before, I know that's stronger. Because, sometimes people just show you support and resistance, but they don't tell you how to see if it's strong or not. So they just go through them, or they just kind of just break through them. With that method, you're gonna know a little bit more if it's gonna be a little stronger or if not. So that's just a little bit right there.
So you said the latest one is probably the weaker because you didn't see it there before, and this would be the first time that it's broke through this. On this particular chart, when we marked it off, it was a floor, but previously it's been the ceiling.
Exactly. So I'm looking for this bottom one to be stronger. And this top
will
one
probably come down and break through the floor and probably turn into the ceiling again.
No, it's more of the probability that it'll be strong. That now that it's then made another floor, like it went through there, but now that it's then made another floor, I'm thinking that it's gonna continue to be a floor for a little bit.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So if you see both of them like that, like you see a floor and a ceiling, know that it's gonna be harder for it to break.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be a little harder for it to get through there. So once you do have the next step, and after we get done, I'm gonna run through real quick here though. But once we get done, you may be able to place a couple trades and test this out yourself. So you mark your high, your low, and then you starting on a higher time frame like the daily, and then you working your way down to get an entry. So you want to enter in on like a smaller time frame. So we got it marked off on the daily. Now we're looking at the 4 hour to see if we see anything different. I could put another line right here. It just gives me another point of reference. Or it lets me know, if the price get right here, I can start making a decision. Do I want to keep the trade, or do I want to go ahead and take my money? And we can do the same thing. We can go down to the 1 hour. I don't see too many differences in the 1 hour that really concerns me yet. Then I want to go down to like the 30 minutes or the 15. Now this is where I'm getting my trigger set up, where I'm getting ready to enter the trade. So I'm starting to look at these candlesticks to see what language is talking, what kind of signals it's telling me. From this right here, it's already showing me that it's kind of like what they would call a railroad. And if you're not familiar with candlestick, with what all these, what they mean or the language they're speaking, I got the Candlestick Bible, and I got a couple of other books that you can take a look at, and it'll tell you what all these mean.
I'm going through the Candlestick Bible. I haven't seen the railroad yet. I've seen engulfing, but I haven't seen the railroad yet.
Exactly. The engulfing is going to be like a single candlestick. That'll just kind of give you a signal to either buy or sell it. The railroad is going to be a 2 candlestick pattern. So when you see 2 of them, because you got like single candlestick patterns, you have double, you have multiple candlesticks that shape different things and give you different patterns. Like you go into it really becomes simpler as you keep on growing your skill set, because you'll start looking for like what they call M's and W's, and those are just clear patterns that the market is going to reverse. So you can catch some of those and make some pretty nice trades just on that alone. So at this point, I'm looking for my entry, and I'm seeing that we had a big nice bearish candle. We have another red candle forming here. It's kind of wicking off or giving us a little resistance, but we're gonna wait. We always wait for the next candle before we enter. So if this candle right here gives me a good bearish candle, then I'm looking to go ahead and get in the market, and I'll take the trade all the way down to potentially here. So one last time, just to repeat the process, we marking up on the higher time frames. We working our way down these smaller time frames, and that's going to give us our actual entry based on either candlesticks, or even if I want to have indicators that told me, sell at this point, then I can use those as well. But this is the best way to me to trade, is just to watch price action, because you don't get as many fake outs from lagging indicators. You can just, okay, like now I see it's kind of pushing down, so I'm just waiting. I know the next candle is going to start in 7 minutes. So as the next candle comes, then I potentially want to take this trade to the downside if it keeps on pushing down.
Okay.
Now I know I went over a lot of. Did you get most of that?
I did. I actually understood a lot of that. Move from the right to the left on a higher time frame, and then work your way down to the lower time frames to see where your resistance is going to be stronger.
Yes, ma'am. And you
And
also
then when you go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, and then you look for the potential of the buy or sell, or as you was looking at the railroad, that's going to tell you which direction to move.
Yes, ma'am. See, I was moving too fast. You answered exactly what I was gonna add in, so you got it.
Okay.
So that's just gonna be a little lesson 1 for today, and we're gonna build on to some of these concepts, because it stays the exact same as far as the method that we're gonna use to get into the market, or use to place our trades or our entries. The only thing that's going to change from here on out is we're going to be using different viewpoints, or we may add in different indicators, but we're still going to stay doing the same thing, starting at the high on the higher time frame, mark off our lows. We're going to go from the right to the left to kind of see what's been happening throughout the market in areas of importance, or areas of interest, are like, these support and resistance, and just key factors is gonna let us know where people are buying and where people are selling it.
Okay. I got the first step.
Yeah. So we got a little bit going. So yeah, we're gonna keep building upon that.
Okay.
It's just a process, and I promise you, it get a lot simpler as we keep on and you get familiar more with the language that the market is telling you. Like it really tells a story as you learn, what's going on. You'll start noticing how it's kind of like almost like learning another language, but it's a little simpler. Like, okay, we have down here, you'll start like, now you know about like engulfings and things like that, and you can put them all together in conjunction to be able to be more accurate on the charts. Like down here, we have what we call a head and shoulders pattern. So we have a shoulder here, we have a head, and then we have another shoulder. So we have the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. This is always typically an indication that the market's going to go up, and it shot up like almost 200 pips. So you would have been able to take the trade down, somewhere around here and caught a nice movement without that much drawdown. Like even if you just jumped in early, you had probably about 30, 40 pips of drawdown, but you're looking on a higher scale as far as how much movement you're gonna have. So you would have been looking. You could have just got in, and it really didn't give you no like major pullbacks. It just went straight up.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like 200 pips.
I have to get a little bit faster at the pip counting. I mean, I understand what the pips mean, and I understand the basics of pips, but I am like, when you guys that's been trading forever, y'all go through it and you like boom, 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 and I'm like, uh, why? I just can't get it that fast.
Don't feel overwhelmed because I didn't been there. Repetition gonna be key and redundancy, and I'm glad you said that because it helps me become be able to present or learn how to present the information better. So whatever style it is that works best for you to learn, I'm gonna try to mold myself to be able to break it down to you. So for now, what we'll do is I'll start posting a lot more information about support and resistance, and we're just gonna keep on nailing at that. And probably in the next few days or so, I have faith in you. I'm gonna start having you to just kind of mark up some charts for me. We'll get back on a Zoom, and I have you to kind of just show me. There's no right or wrong, but just show me where you think maybe the support and resistance may lie. And then
Okay.
once we have that nailed in, we'll go into a little deeper in learning about structure. May look at some W's, some M's. We'll probably itemize or look at some actual candlesticks and see what it's telling us.
Mm-hmm.
And things like that. Another thing to kind of look at is these wicks here.
Mm-hmm.
What the wicks are is where, like I said, it's going to be, like I was saying earlier, there's going to be pressure from the other side. So if you have a
That's where the buyers and the sellers was fighting for the most power.
There you go. See, you know more than what you giving yourself credit for. Yes, ma'am. I say don't doubt yourself. You already sounding like a pro.
I wish. I'm gonna get there though.
Yes, ma'am.
I heard. I can't remember who I heard say that, and that stuck in my head because it's a fight for the most power. That's what sticks in my head when I see the wicks and the candlesticks.
Yup, it lets you know at that area you got both sides, like you say, the battle of the bulls and the bears. They're trying to fight for control of that position or that area in price or on the market or the grid or charts. There we go.
So when you mark the ceiling and the floor, when you marking it, you're marking it at the top of the highest wick?
The body. I'm using bodies over wicks.
The highest body. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So I will mark it from the body and from bodies. And wicks really don't, they kind of came under there. They weren't able to close underneath that. So I wouldn't say they don't count. They tell me something, but I want to see where the body ended at, because that's the true point of where the candle stopped at.
Gotcha. I believe that's where I made one of my mistakes when I tried to mark up one and I just couldn't get it. So that kind of discouraged me. But now I know you hit it from the body of the candle, not the wick. Gotcha.
Well, it's all a learning process, and that's what I'm gonna be here for, is try to help cut down your learning curve. But you just gotta think back when you was getting certified for your nursing. You had to it just took some time to get used to everything. So don't feel
Right.
bad.
Yeah, I used to I used to teach cosmetology, so I don't get upset. I just kind of try to think of ways I used to teach my students.
I hear you.
That helps me remember things as far as what I'm trying
Okay.
to accomplish.
And that's what I'm working on as well, is finding ways to give analogies to portray the information over to you guys. uh, this is a little bit more advanced concept, but I've been teaching a thing called the running man. What it is, you can kind of see how these moves going, and you can kind of judge to when it's gonna stop based on, if we think about it like a person running a marathon with a rubber band on him. So he's in a race at this point, and he takes off. Okay, at this point right here, he rests. He gets a little tired, so he rests, and the rubber band pulls him back. Then he takes off, and now he caught his breath, and he takes off full speed, sprinting. He gets to this point, and the rubber band kind of pulled him back a little bit, but it wasn't even as much as the rest he took at first. So that lets me know that he still got some strength in him. He should be able to still to move, because he didn't come back that much. He didn't rest as long. You got him take off again. But when we get up here, okay, now he's starting to rest a lot more. Like, it's kind of just dragging. He take off again. This time, the whole time, he's able to beat his old record. So he took off here. He came back, but then he beat his old record. He came back, but he beat his own record. This time he came back. He rested for a long time here. These are the hour charts. And then he took off again, but this time he could barely even beat his old record. So that in itself, that type of mindset lets me know that the price is getting tired up here. Like, for some reason, he didn't have as much strength. So that's another what they call confirmation that's starting to make me look to the downside. Besides, he's at a ceiling, he's also not moving as fast as he was.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll keep diving on the constant. Does that make any sense to you?
Yes, that
Oh,
made sense to me. I mean, I understood the running man theory.
okay. So that just kind of gives you an understanding of trends. When you start seeing the trend, if he starts taking a lot of risk, then it's like a sign, like, okay, I might want to start looking to take my money, or I may want to start looking in the opposite direction. He might be about to fall on his face.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it'd be little things like that that give us a more understanding of how to read the market. Um, but besides this support and resistance, what else have you been kind of diving into?
Well, I didn't understand because, like I said, I'm brand new. Like, I'm starting from ground zero. So I was basically trying to understand what it was that you were doing with those lines, and then
Okay.
yeah, then you would do the slanted lines going up and down. So I didn't. So it kind of, once you threw those lines in, it kind of threw me off, and again I get a
No
little
problem.
depressed and discouraged. So I kind of back off. But I mean,
Don't back
slowly I'll
off.
understand. I just need to stick with it.
Remember, ain't no such thing as a stupid question, or ain't nobody gonna look at you crazy, because we all been there. I remember when I first looked at the chart, I'm like, all these squiggly lines, all this, it looked like science or something to me. But the more and more you just keep on jumping in, and if you got any kind of question, I'm always there for you. Or if somebody else, they more than help. They're more than willing to answer the question. But just if you want to look at them sidelines, it's not nothing at all really. All it is what we call a trend line. It's just gonna give me if I have 2 points, it won't even let me draw it right now. But we'll see. I should have got on the corporate Zoom, but all that's doing is showing me a direction of the trend. So I got the direction of the trend as an uptrend. Every time it comes back to this line, it typically bounces up. It's kind of the same thing as these support and resistance, but they're going to be diagonally. I can't even pronounce that right now. Instead of horizontal, so they're just another representation of like your floors or your ceilings. It's just another representation of that.
So when you draw those lines, it basically tells you which way the market is going to move for you at that time.
Exactly. You see how it kind of how all this movement, up and down movement, is aiming up.
Mm-hmm.
It's letting me know that there's an uptrend right now.
Okay, so that wasn't as hard as I thought. I guess because I didn't understand what the lines
what was
meant.
going on, huh?
Right. And once you marked it up, it just okay, that's way too much going on in this area right here. So I don't know what I'm looking at. So
and I'm gonna start breaking down my charts. I'm gonna try to put it in text. Like, to say like trend line, or just things that when I put it on there, especially my educational charts, that I put them on there, and you guys can kind of, hopefully follow along a little bit. So to point out like this is a trend line, we got an uptrend based on these trend lines.
right. See, I didn't know I didn't know if you was going at a certain, like, the numbers on the side telling you how much. When I first started, that was price lines. They was just numbers to me. So I'm thinking that you was marking according to the numbers on the side. And I'm like, why and how does he know where to place those lines?
Where it's gonna stop it? Yeah, I don't know much more than you do. It's just been practice, and I'm utilizing these tools just to kind of find defined areas. So yeah, no, I'm not no wizard or nothing like that. I just then took some time to study. I was lucky enough to have a little time to, I actually made time to kind of learn a little bit about the markets. So I mean, that's
I'm
our
gonna
third.
have to, like I said, I'm gonna have to really get into it. But I'm glad the classes are more structured now because, like I said, I didn't understand any of it.
I agree. That's why I was trying to. You know how it is. I was trying to come in and help at the point, but I still have to follow the curriculum that they had in place. But with my classes, it was kind of more. We weren't really even too much on the charts. I wanted to give you guys an understanding of how the markets actually work before I overloaded y'all with so much indicators and
Right.
I'm going to prepare you, and when I get with Miss Harper, I want to prepare you guys to be kind of trained assassins in the market. You ladies will know exactly why it's happening and where it should happen there.
Right. That's what I want to know. I don't want you, I appreciate the signals that you give and everything, but I want to know why you do that. I want to know at what point did you decide that this is what you was going to do and why you did it at that point.
Exactly. That's the key. That's how you learn how to trade.
Right.
Look, we just got another indication. So price could push up a little bit more, maybe break out and give us what they call a fake out. But as we see, we putting a lot of probability on our side, or if we basically have a checklist. Like we just had 2 reasons to take the market down. We had the top up here. Mm-hmm. We had the signal with the candlesticks, and now we got a trend line right here above it. So it's gonna be it's gonna take a lot of pressure for it to break through this area because you got so many roadblocks in front of it.
Okay, so when would Okay, when would be a sure indication of whether or not you would buy or sell in that trade?
What you want to see the reaction. That's where we go down to the smaller time frames, and we look for the candles to show us. So we look for price to start showing us. So we did get some decent candlesticks, but now we're coming back up. So I want to see price kind of break beneath these wicks. Maybe down here if I want to be more conservative. But the market's gonna tell me, it's gonna show me like an engulfing. Like how we had this small candle right here, this bearish, and then we got a nice engulfing to the top. We're gonna see something like that. We're gonna see something like that coming to the downside. So if this was a trade to the downside, if this is going to be a trade to the downside, we're going to see like a big engulfing, or we'll see like a hammer candle up here at the top somewhere, and then it's going to start dropping down, and then we'll just pick a spot to enter, and we set our stop losses accordingly. So we want our stop loss to be somewhere above those all those trend lines and stuff. So like I want my stop loss to be somewhere up here, because I know I got all these roadblocks protecting me. So I want to put somewhere where they won't reach my stop.
Show your stop loss again. Where would it be? I didn't see it.
It'll be somewhere over here where, like, I'm gonna put a line up there to show you. It'll be somewhere over here.
Okay.
If it go past here, then I know it's gonna be bullish. That they're gonna keep pushing price up. But if it start coming down, then I'm looking for it to sell and taking profit at these different areas.
Okay.
So really what I'm going to do, just to answer that question or reshape it, I'll probably wait till to see if it comes up to here, and then I'll short it based off of, these trend lines, because they've been reacting. If we look in the past, like we were looking in the past to the right or horizontally, but now if we look to the past diagonally, every time it touches this line up here, it drops down. So yeah, that's gonna give us more of a roadmap again to know, okay, we should probably do the same thing when it comes kind of over here, or even one of these points, we try to take it down.
Okay. That makes a little bit more sense.
Well, that's good to hear. What I'm gonna do though, just sharing. I think we got some guys on here that's been sitting here. I didn't use the corporate Zoom, so it's probably gonna close out on us. If y'all still free here in a few seconds, I'm gonna give me something to drink, and then I'll open the room again, and I'll see if anybody else got any questions, or while we just kind of having a free range, or if anybody want to show their screen and show some of the techniques they using in the market.
I apologize. I didn't know anybody else was on. I apologize.
No,
I'm just taking up all the time.
We want to get everybody up to the same speed, so you're a lot more important. Like those, you see, they waiting patiently. They not.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
They're a little bit more seasoned traders, so they got a love for the market, so they don't mind. It's all a refresher for us, for me as well.
Okay.
But all right, I'm gonna start another Zoom here in a few moments. After I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, y'all.